Here's the real reason you're broke, burnt out and stuck, and nobody wants to admit this. But do you want to know what's funny? Everybody loves talking about abundance, mindset, energy, frequency. But the second life punches them in the mouth, which it does to all of us, the abundance disappears, the confidence disappears, the certainty disappears, the belief disappears. And suddenly you're back to living in scarcity, back to panic, back to fear, back to acting like everything that you've built was an accident. But here's a scary realization I had recently. If losing a result destroys your confidence, and the confidence was never real in the first place, it was rented, it was borrowed from the result. And that's a dangerous way to live, because life will take things from you all the time. It takes things from all of us. Money, relationships, happiness, opportunities, momentum, health, status, sometimes all at once. And when it does, who are you without all of them things? Because that's the real question you've got to look hard in the mirror and ask yourself. Not what you've built, who built it? And if you're honest, most of the things you're worried about right now are all external. Money, followers, clients, women, business, relationships, validation. But none of those things created you. You created them. And the moment that you start to forget that, you start to become weak. And I've had to learn this the hard way over and over again in my life, because there were periods where everything looked amazing from the outside in, but in reality it was falling apart. Addiction, debt, no direction, no purpose, no confidence, no real future. At least that's how it felt at the time. And during that time, I just convinced myself that if I could change my circumstances and make a bit more money, then everything will be okay. It could be more money, better opportunities, new friends, new people, different environment, different life. But I wasn't looking in the wrong place, because the circumstances weren't creating my life. My standards were, my habits were, and my thinking was. My decisions were, and my discipline was. And that's when everything started to change. Not because life suddenly became easier, but because I realised something that most people never realise. The person that got me out of all that was the same person that got me there in the first place. And that was me. So I need you to really think about that for a second. You keep acting like your future is controlled by external events, but your past wasn't created by external events. It came from inside of you, through persistence, resilience, adaptability, work ethic, creativity, courage, action. You had all those traits before the results arrived. The results were simply evidence of those traits, which means if you've created any level of success before, you can create it again and again and again and compound it into more, because the source isn't outside of you, it's inside of you. That's why I think so many people stay stuck, and I think that's why you feel like you're stuck, because you've become so obsessed with protecting what you've built instead of realising that you've become the person who can build it repeatedly. And there's a big difference in that, because one creates anxiety, but the other creates freedom. Because if you're constantly terrified of losing everything, then you just become a prisoner of your own success. You don't own it, it owns you. And I see this everywhere with the men that come and work with me, the businessman terrified that his company will fail, the athlete that's terrified that he'll start losing, the entrepreneur that will be terrified that the leads dry up, the man's terrified that his wife's going to leave him. The problem isn't the fear. The problem is you've forgotten the person who created those successful things in the first place. And that person is you. And this applies to body, mind and money. So let's start with body, because you know I'm obsessed with body, mind and money. You don't trust yourself because you've broken too many promises. You know exactly what you should do: train, walk, eat better, drink plenty of water, sleep better. Yet every week you negotiate. You say tomorrow, Monday, next month, after the holiday, after Christmas, New Year, new me, after this stressful period. And the result is you slowly lose confidence in yourself. And it's not because you're overweight, it's because you've stopped believing in your own word. Now let's go on to mind, because this one's brutal. And this is the one that nobody wants to admit. You're not overwhelmed because your life's hard. You're overwhelmed because your thoughts are out of control. Your attention is scattered. Your focus is broken. And you're consuming more than you're creating. And you're reacting instead of leading. And every day you stay mentally undisciplined and you start to lose power. Let's go on to money now, because people think money problems are all financial, but nearly all of them aren't. Most are behavioural: lack of focus, lack of consistency, lack of action, courage, patience. The same person who can't stick to a diet usually can't stick to an income generating plan or a business plan. The same person who constantly quits the gym usually quits opportunities too. The same mindset creates all three outcomes: body, mind, and money. That's why they're all connected. And here's the part that nobody wants to hear. You don't need more information. You don't even need another podcast or another motivational video like this one. You definitely don't need another productivity hack or another motivational quote. You need to become the type of person who executes, because execution creates evidence, evidence creates confidence, and that creates momentum. And momentum will change your life in a permanent way. And that's the most powerful shift I ever made. It wasn't about making money. It wasn't about getting leaner. It wasn't about growing my businesses. It was realizing that my identity was way more valuable than any result. Because results, they can come and then they can go. But the identity remains. A man who becomes disciplined can lose everything and still rebuild. A man who only has results loses when them results start to fade away. And that's why abundance isn't believing good things will happen. Abundance is believing you'll be okay, even if they don't, because you trust yourself to create those results again. Let me say that again. Abundance is not confidence in circumstances, it's confidence in yourself. And that's what alignment really is. When your body's strong, when your mind's clear, when your money's growing and you're confident about it and you've got momentum, not because life's perfect, because you've become someone who can handle life and make things happen at the drop of a hat. That's the goal, not perfection, but becoming capable. So here's the question. If everything in your life disappeared tomorrow, the money, the business, the opportunities, the status, the validation, would you still trust yourself? Would you still believe that you could rebuild, or have you accidentally attached your identity to the results? Because your answer to that question tells you exactly where you are and exactly what needs fixing. So if this video is hitting harder than you expected, that's probably a sign. You're not broken, you're just out of alignment. And until you fix the internal part of who you are, any results you get externally will always feel fragile. But if you're ready to find out exactly where you're leaking energy across your body, your mind, and your money, click the link in the description and go and take the alignment audit, and it'll show you exactly where you are across body, mind, and money, and exactly where you're falling short and what that's costing you. Because once you get that clarity, it changes everything. And the life that you're chasing might be a lot closer than you think. So I'll see you in the next video, but don't bother clicking on the next video if you're not going to go and do the alignment audit. It'll take you less than 10 minutes and it's free. Let's fucking go.